everybody? It's your boy Captain Trips. Thank you so much for coming through to the channel, and thank you for clicking on this video. Today, I want to get talking about the Xbox Series X, but not just the Xbox Series X, but like the whole lead up to this generation. I guess I should start out by introducing who I am. My name is Captain Trips. I am a lifelong gamer all the way from the NES up until now, and I've been with Xbox since the first year I'll say. It's been a long road to get here. I remember when there were inklings of Microsoft putting together a console. I really shrugged it off. It was Microsoft. I really didn't know anything about their pedigree when it came to gaming, and really didn't trust any of that. By that point, I was fully sold on the PlayStation, and if anything, I was locked in. Since PlayStation 1, I hadn't really engaged with too many Nintendos that weren't handheld. I mean, of course, there was Pokemon and everything, right? But I made the switch to PlayStation when, of course, graphics came. I wanted a Dreamcast so bad, but that's another story for another day. My parents asked me about the Xbox, and I was very skeptical. I was like, I don't really know. I'm not sure about any of the games that they have, but the Halo does look pretty cool. And lo and behold, that Christmas, I had an Xbox under my tree. So since the release, I used the Xbox mainly as a mixtape database. Any album, any songs I liked, I would rip them from the CD onto the hard drive of the Xbox. And I know, looking back at it, it really felt like the hard drive was infinite, but I really want to know how much storage was in that internal Xbox, because I swear that was never a thing. I never had to run into any issues with memory going on down the line, but I was really happy to have an Xbox, and I carried that thing with me everywhere I went until freshman year of college. Of course, that was the next jump up to the 360, and this is where Xbox took it to a level that I didn't imagine. I remember waiting in line at the Walmart for the 360 to be released. My grandmother gave me the money. I'll never remember that. And I went straight home and I played Perfect Dark Zero, and I was just hypnotized by the gamerization of gaming with the gamer score, right? But that made everything accessible to everyone. That generation Xbox won a lot of hearts, which they then turned around and, I'm not gonna say shat on, but they lost last generation. And the reason I think they did was because they lost sight of gaming being the reason we bought an Xbox, right? So I remember a lot of the promotion and a lot of just information coming around the Xbox One was supposed to replace everything in your entertainment console. It was supposed to be the avenue that you watch TV through, your YouTube, and oh, by the way, we play games as well. But me, I was gonna play the games regardless. So I got the Xbox One again for Christmas, and that thing was just so huge, so clunky, but it was an Xbox, and the upgraded graphics, it was a jump. But I'll say where they lost the day was the games. Xbox One, that generation, I'll say there was really no killer app. Like for the 360, if Halo 3 wasn't your thing, or Halos weren't your thing, the multiplayer wasn't your thing, there was something there for you. Now with Xbox One and PlayStation 4, it seemed that PlayStation further paced that gap when it come down to great storytelling, and I didn't feel like we got that in the Xbox One generation, but still part of the ecosystem, right? So not only did I go from the Xbox One, but I also went from the One to the Xbox One X, and this is where the idea of like incremental change comes about, because Xbox One at this point, I can't remember, let's say 2013, 2012, somewhere in there. So this is 7 years ago, but I got my One X, let's say 16, right? 16, 17, somewhere in there. So that's generation, half a generation, and another generation. And this is why I feel like the Xbox Series X, while a big boy, I'm looking at it right now, it's a big boy, right? I feel as though until I get the huge monitor that can, drive up the refresh rate, drive up the frames, I'm not going to see that jump that the technology made outside of features. And we'll get into that for a second. So I just wanted to give y'all the lead in where I have skin in the game when it comes down to Xbox and their evolution. But I'll say after now 2 days of playing with this machine, I'm just amazed by the speed of everything. And the word that I'll use here is crisp. I want y'all to keep that in mind. Crisp. All right. Now, first things first, I know what y'all want to hear. That startup. What about this for this gen? And just like that, you're at the interface. This is the main dashboard, and it doesn't really look too different from what you see on your Xbox One. At least not right now. This is what makes me feel like there's incremental differences between the Xbox One X and the Xbox Series X. Everything looks exactly the same. That is until we get into the game. So the first thing we're going to do is load up a game. Let's start with Bully from the Xbox 360. This will give you an idea of how long it's going to take for this 360 game to load. Still got to go through that 360 startup phase. And additionally, you always have to go through loading your Xbox 360 information. So this isn't anything new. It just has a new packaging for the Xbox Series X. Or at least that's what I thought. And here's the part where I fast forward through everything so y'all don't have to sit through the whole loading thing. You're welcome. But just when I thought we were done with that, another loading screen hits us. So I got used to this from the Xbox One. This is what that looked like all last generation. So it kind of feels like we have double. You see, it looks a little choppy. I wonder if that's just because the game is old. So we're in the game. Now I have to go and let the game know I'm loading a cloud save. Well, we're in the game. And you can tell it's an older game. But I will say, even here, it looks a little better. Alright, so that was a 360 game. What else we got? Let's load up something newer. How about Spiritfarer? Now, I want to note that these games are on my external hard drive, but I've not loaded them up to my Xbox Series X until just now. So these are the first iterations of it actually running on the Series X. And one thing that I've noticed is that the first time you load the game, it's the full load. It's everything you're used to when it comes down to loading that game. And I know this is going to make the video long, but I want you guys to see the difference between a full load, and I'm not trying to be a child about this, a full load, and then what quick resume will look like when you do have an Xbox Series X. Very cute game, by the way. We'll say that. And so we're in. Very responsive. Again, what's our word of the day? Crisp. So I can just blink out of here. Let me go home. Now, Valhalla is a game that I have opened before. You see that quick resume icon at the top? All it'll show you is this. And boom, we're in the game already. And I'll say, I haven't upgraded my monitor yet, but come on, man. Come on, man. You see that? It still looks good to me. So when I get an upgraded monitor and upgraded set, whew, I'm gonna blow myself away with it. Okay, so that's one Xbox Series X game, or one that's been optimized. Here's another one that's been optimized. Again, haven't loaded this game before, so we're gonna have to go through the entire loading sequence. And we're pretty much used to this. This is standard fare for an Xbox game, Xbox One game, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X game. I won't even bore you with the stuff that they do to sell these games to you or the expansions. But this is what the game looks like. I tried to play with it a little bit. You see me switching camera angles to see something different. Really want to see the layout, the land. Then I figured, I can't drive like this. Horizon's always been a beautiful game. And once again, once I upgrade my setup on what I'm actually looking at, I think it'll be a huge jump. And I'm definitely going to have to give Verizon another look. But you get the point. Alright, I've opened 4 games. Let's quit this one and see what that looks like when we reload. But first, let's visit Bully. Remember that loading time? That quick resume icon, that's a good omen. Alright, right back in the game. A 360 game at that. Didn't have to load the 360 data twice or once. Alright, cool. What about Spiritfarer? Quick resume icon. Alright. Right back into the game. Exactly where we left off. Okay. What about Valhalla? I know quick resume works with this. right back into the game. Again, crisp. Okay, so those 3 games were open. What about Horizon? Not so fast, my pretty. We quit the game, so it's gonna restart all the way out. And so we're right back in it. Even with that loading time, I still feel though it loaded quickly. But when you think about Xbox, this is a consistent ecosystem. My Xbox Series X looks like your Xbox One X. Same stuff, which will help you when you do upgrade eventually. So there you have it. Those are a little bit of my first impressions with the Xbox interface on the Xbox Series S. You see why I said it that way, right? As an Xbox gamer, I'm optimistic about the future, and I really do understand that my patience is going to pay off down the line. Heck, in about 3 weeks or so, I'll be playing Cyberpunk 2077, a game I've looked forward to for such a long time on such a powerful gaming console. And no matter if you chose Xbox, PC, or PlayStation 5, just know that there's great games out there for you to play no matter what platform you are on. So we need to put this whole console war thing to bed. I may have an Xbox right now, but it's only a matter of time before I cop that PlayStation because I want good games. And if you're able to give me those good games, no matter what platform you're on, I'm going to opt into that. So with that, that's me. Once again, my name is Captain Trips. Thank you guys so much for coming through, clicking through this video. If you like the content and you want more of this, please go ahead and subscribe. Also, keep in mind, I'm on Twitch, so you can see me play some of these games that you saw earlier in this video live. Till next time, peace.